Breaking news, CNN learning tonight that Hillary Clinton's campaign and the Democratic National Committee helped fund the research which led to the controversial and, frankly, salacious and disgusting in some of its allegations dossier that detailed alleged Russian efforts to help Donald Trump's presidential campaign. The Washington Post was first to report this. Out front, one of the reporters who just broke the story, Adam Entis with the Washington Post. Adam, good to have you back. So let's just start with the bottom line here. Clinton, the Hillary Clinton campaign and the DNC. What exactly did they do?
Well, I mean, they have a lawyer, and that lawyer went about looking to hire research firms. One of the firms that they hired was this company in Washington here called Fusion GPS. Fusion GPS, in turn, subcontracted out to Christopher Steele, the former British intelligence officer, to help get information about Trump's relationships in Russia. Those reports that Chris Steele produced were then passed back to the lawyer who was representing the Clinton campaign. What we don't really know is how that information was then relayed to the campaign. Our understanding from talking to people who are close to the matter is that those actual Steele reports were not directly handed to the campaign, so we don't really quite understand how the information was passed, who got the information,
right.
And we, obviously we want to know, what they did with that information after they received it.
Right, right, and that's are crucial questions. Now, as for the dossier itself, I just want to remind our viewers, look, it's about 30 pages or something. It's obviously widely available out there. We don't talk about it because it hasn't been verified, but we have confirmed that some of the conversations as reported in this dossier between foreign nationals did occur. So some things in it appear to be true, others are completely uncorroborated at this time. What you're saying, Adam, is that it's unclear whether it was finished and packaged as we now can see it and handed to the Clinton campaign or not, right?
Well, I think the answer to that is it was not. These reports were being produced on a regular basis, every few weeks, every few months. He would prepare, Chris Steele would prepare a new report, which he would give to his the people who were paying him, Fusion GPS. Fusion GPS would then want to tell the lawyer for the Clinton campaign, who he's representing, what information was being collected, and that information was then being given to the campaign. The way that was being given is what we don't really understand. How high up in the campaign did that information go? We don't really know. But like you said, the point is that much of what Steele said, or at least some of what Steele said, is not that different from what the intelligence community later discloses in January, which was an effort by, alleging that the Russians were working to try to help Trump. That is one of the main findings of Steele's investigation. So even though, yes, we are revealing here that the Clinton campaign's money and the DNC's money was being used, at least in part, to fund this investigation by Chris Steele, that doesn't mean that what he produced was not accurate, was not inaccurate, or, some of the information was clearly accurate and is borne out by what the intelligence community later disclosed.
Right, which is obviously a crucial point. Now, when you say the money, do you have any idea how much money it was?
No, the people we talked to wouldn't tell us. They told us that the amount of money paid to Fusion GPS was shared between the campaign and the DNC. But we don't know what the dollar figures are, and we don't know exactly how that was broken down between the two organizations. So,
Adam, I want to, the point that you're making here, right? I mean, in whatever word you want to use for this, whether it was intelligence or opposition research, right? Whoever's paying for it, Christopher Steele, this former British intelligence agent, went out and got this information, some of which is true, some of which is uncorroborated. You're also reporting, though, that Fusion GPS, this firm that had been doing research on Trump, had already been doing research, opposition research on Trump during the Republican primaries. Yeah. Okay. Who was paying for that? Was it Ted Cruz?
No, we don't know. We're not sure who that Republican client was. When Fusion GPS was hired by that client, they did not know that Russia was going to be the main focus. At that point, they were hired. Trump was a relatively unknown in Washington. He wasn't disclosing his tax returns. He was, there really wasn't a lot of information out there about his business ties and frankly, his foreign relationships. So they were hired along with other firms to do some research. Initially, they were hired by a Republican client who remains secret. That has not been disclosed. In March of 2016, according to the law firm for the Clinton campaign, Fusion GPS approaches the lawyer representing the campaign and offers to basically have the Democrats continue funding the research that they were already doing on behalf of a Republican client.
Now, did they at that time, Adam, I want to bring in David Challing to this conversation, our political director, but at that time, did the Clinton campaign or the DNC say, we want this to focus on Russia? Or did that naturally happen?
Based on the information I have, I have no evidence to support what you just said. I mean, I think, you know, I'm not exactly sure. I think Steele is brought on board, it becomes a subcontractor to Fusion GPS after the DNC and the Clinton campaign hire Fusion GPS through this lawyer. So it's not clear to me at what point Fusion GPS's investigation through Chris Steele focuses narrowly, most narrowly, on Russia. But keep in mind that Fusion GPS was investigating, outside of what Chris Steele was doing, a lot of other things related to Trump, and also providing that through the lawyer again to the Clinton campaign and to the DNC. So it wasn't just Russia-related material.
So, David Challing, what's your reaction to this?
Well, it is not good news for the DNC and the Clinton campaign to be named and attached to the funding of something that you described in part has borne out and in part included a lot of uncorroborated stuff to date. That being said, we had previously reported, right, that this Oppo research process began on the Republican side, and then Democrats took over funding this opposition research operation. So who would those Democrats be if not the DNC and the Clinton campaign?
Right.
I think we would expect it to be them come the spring of 2016, the people funding opposition research. As you know, Aaron, Oppo research is a staple of presidential campaigns, of all kinds of campaigns. In fact, most candidates begin their campaigns by hiring such a firm to do it on themselves and find out all the potential holes that they may have, vulnerabilities that they may have, that an opponent may come at them with. But obviously, this particular document, as Adam was saying, because there is a significant portion of it that the U.S. intelligence communities and news organizations' reportings have proven true, it raises, obviously, big concerns. It is at the heart of the Mueller investigation, the Hill investigations, and having Hillary Clinton's campaign and the DNC attached for it is certainly going to give Trump supporters a talking point to try to simply add to the mix that this is political theater, and this will give them an opportunity to say